you're still on it. It is a luta continua.
First of all, I have listened to the majority whip, right? I know don't pray. And it appears that there is some sort of comprehension, lack of comprehension in this entire, activity we are undertaking.
How do you mean?
The minority has not said anywhere that we will boycott parliamentary activities forever. They have not said that. The minority has not also said that we will boycott parliamentary activities every day. The point has been made clear that anytime James Gyakye Quayson appears before court, we will boycott. And so if Monday, James Gyakye Quayson is not appearing before court and there's parliamentary sitting on Monday and we appear, you say we are unprincipled people. If Tuesday morning, between the hours of 6 to 10, James Gyakye Quayson is not appearing before court, and then we appear to attend committee meetings, you say we are unprincipled. How is that someone being unprincipled? So it's either he has not read what the minority has said, or he has not been listening all this while. Because clearly, if he has been following whatever we have been doing with regards to this activity, he won't sit down and then say all sorts of things like he was saying there, and that the minority appears confused and the minority appears unprincipled. We have made our position clear, and we have said that anytime James Gyakye Quayson appears before court, we will not appear in the house for sitting. As simple as that. Now, what has led us to this? And this is the subject matter. I just wanted to address that so that probably he doesn't repeat that ever again. The subject has to do with a man, Honorable James Gyakye Quayson, who left whatever he was doing in Canada to come home and contest for MPship. And I'll repeat this over and over again on any platform, so that at some point in time, probably they will understand what we have been trying to communicate to them. This man left whatever he was doing for over 40 years, decided to come back home to contest. He arrived in his country like there are many people, and this is not the first time. In fact, MPs, in fact, President Akufo-Addo himself has been a citizen of the UK. He came back home to contest. Many people all around. He came back, including Dr. Bawumia, to contest. The man went into the contest, started his renunciation from 2019. Due to COVID, it delayed. He was unable to attain the renunciation certificate, before starting the processes leading to the election. However, the intent had been made known. And remember that this has nothing to do with dual citizenship. It has everything to do with allegiance. And so, being a dual citizen and owing allegiance to another country are two separate things altogether to discuss. This man agreed that he was a dual citizen. He decided to start his renunciation. Once the intent had been made, it should tell you and I that indeed the man had commenced processes, and the man had already even given up his dual citizenship with regards to that. When a matter was taken before the EC, which was the independent referee in this entire process,
organizing the elections
at the time, the EC looked at the petition and said, no, the intent had been made. So the EC cleared him to go in and contest. The man went in, he contested, he defeated you people landslide by about 3,000 votes plus. After the election, and in fact, even before the 7th of December, his renunciation certificate was given to him, pending a decision by the EC that once the intent had been made, whenever the renunciation certificate is ready, he should submit it. Somewhere in November 2020, the renunciation certificate was brought to him. Honorable James Gyakye Quayson tendered it in, and that matter was resolved.
Before the election?
Before the elections. He contested. He won. After the election, your party took him to court. And the man had been standing trial. In fact, he was injuncted for nearly 2 years. He could not hold himself as
the
MP.
party, it's an individual. Yesterday he was in court.
Who was the individual? And who is the lawyer in the matter? Is it not the Minister of Justice? Is it not an appointee of President Akufo-Addo? You took him to court. He went there, his answer to all questions. The court ruled that whatever processes had occurred had been declared null and void. In law, you know what it means to declare something null and void. When something is declared null and void, the simple layman's understanding is that it never occurred. And so once his contest never occurred in the wisdom of the court, it meant that no error was even conducted. Because the the court appreciated the fact that the independent arbiter that is supposed to check to ensure that all aspirants in that election were qualified did due diligence and checked him and cleared him. And so once they cleared him, if there's to be any error, the EC was supposed to be held liable. You took him to court. The man was made free. For the second time, and I say second time, in fact, this will be the first time where one is taken out through court processes and is still legal and has the right to contest in a by-election. The man went into the election again because he was qualified. Why was he qualified? Because the first contest in the wisdom of the court never happened. And this second contest where his renunciation certificate had been made available to him was now legal and gave him every right to contest in this election. James Quayson went into the election. This time, not 3,000 votes. He whipped you by about 5,000 votes. The people of Asinov demonstrated to you that above the law, there's what we call the will of the people. And once the will of the people has been made in this particular, had been demonstrated in 2020, they were willing to repeat it in this particular by-election. They did so. James Quayson won. He came back to Parliament. Then you went to file other cases. In fact, those were even in processes of a criminal matter. The question we keep asking is that, what at all is criminal in this particular instance? Then you bring the answer of Abu Sakandi. And we have repeatedly explained to you guys that these are two different issues. Abu Sakandi was in Parliament holding other countries' passports, Burkina Faso, holding the passport of London, transacting business, and did not even make any attempt of renouncing all these certificates. And that was why Abu Sakandi was jailed. This man's intent was even started. In fact, his renunciation certificate came before the elections. And so these are two separate entities. Roland, in narrating all this story, what we have said is that we cannot go to Asenov. You as a government, when they caused huge financial loss to the state, you went there, doled out monies, spent a lot, did whatever you wanted to do, you still lost the election. The people of Asinov gave us the mandate. They voted hugely for Honorable James Quayson and the NDC in attempt to reward them for what they have done for us. We think that laws cannot be made in this country with their absence. So if the people of Asinov have voted for a man to represent them in the House of Legislature, and you have decided to let the man leave his parliamentary duties and attend to court activities, we will solidarize with them by standing firm with them. We cannot pass laws in the absence of the people of Asinov. And once their representative is not in Parliament, whatever law they are passing, they will not have a say. And so if they can't have a say by virtue of the fact that James Quayson will have to appear before court on a daily basis, we as a minority will also accompany him there. So that let's take it as though 137 MPs of ours.
You are not standing down your opposition in any way.
Wow. We are not backing down. Because we have made the efforts. We have advised them. We have educated them. We have lectured them. We've taken them through all these scenarios in explaining to them that this kind of persecution must end at the point. In other case, and to land on this, your correspondent just admitted that even the majority MPs were not in Parliament. And they've not been turning up. And less than 30.
If the minority is not
less than 30 were in Parliament. If the minority is not there, demonstrate goodwill by appearing in your numbers. Let us know that it's only the minority seats that are empty. But you cannot have less than 30 of your MPs appear, and you come to call the minority irresponsible. In other words, to land on this, what business at all do you think we are stampeding? Which business have you laid that has been positive so far to the people of this country? Which business? Is it the legalization of weed? Is it the additional taxes you've been bringing on board? Which business? Which business are we stampeding? Which business, has been able to solve the bread and butter issues of the people of this country? And so you should even be grateful because you've been laying nothing. Everything you have laid in Parliament have not been of benefit to the people of Ghana. Mention one. He's here. One business they have brought that have reduced the dollar. One business that have brought that have reduced the price of commodities in the market. He should tell us one business. So I don't know why they are lamenting. When we are in the house, you don't bring any better business. When we are off the house, you beg us to come so that you bring business. What business at all? One, that we have stampeded. Tell me.
And Isaac, they said this will continue. And the majority and its leadership are also saying that this is not of goodwill and doesn't help government business. I mean, generality, the function or the functioning of the state.
Well, thank you very much, Roland. And then let me just say that, I mean, I support the position of the Chief Whip, Majority Chief Whip of Parliament, that the NDC time and again has demonstrated that they are not straightforward and they keep going about pussyfooting and not having a static position related to national issues. I say so because on this judge Quayson issue, there are separate issues which have been dealt at separate times. The first issue had to do with challenging the person's eligibility in terms of the process that took him to Parliament. The courts has ruled that this person needn't be there. There has been a finality, there has been an election that has elected a person. But it does not take away the role that the person played in getting there. To the extent that if the person lied to us as a state, we expect that the NDC by this time should be holding themselves accountable. We're in this country when the former chairman, regional chairman of the NDC, Honorable Alote Jacobs, told us that as far back as 2012, Mr. Judge Quayson has come before the regional committee to aspire to be in Parliament. They went through his documents and realized that this man has not renounced his citizenship to Canada, and so disqualified him. It happened again in 2016. 2020, the person was before us. How come the NDC has not responded to that particular claim by the former regional chairman? Are they saying that the regional chairman is lying?
They said the Electoral Commission cleared it.
We move on. In 2020, they say the Electoral Commission cleared it. But at the end of the day, the courts. And that is why the courts always sit in the middle as a referee. And it pains me so much that for a party that says that it believes in the rule of law, for a party that ascribes to the balance of power within our states, that there are three separate arms of government. The the judiciary will do its work, the legislature will do its work, and then the executive will do its work. Nobody at any point in time has interfered in the work of Parliament. Because at every point in time, the Constitution grants all these bodies their powers to do so. If a member of your party has an issue in Parliament, how does that affect the work of Parliament? Are you stampeding the work of Parliament, or you are holding the whole country into ransom?
And walkout.
No, but at the end of the day, if you walk out of Parliament, if you walk out of Parliament, you are stampeding the process of Parliament. And your justification is that a member of your party is before the courts. How does that affect the work of Parliament? Are you saying that because a person is an MP, the nation should not function? And it beats my mind because we are in a republic where people have been jailed for stealing 2 tubers of yam. We are in a republic where 2 fingers or 3 fingers of plantain have been jailed.
What has that got to do with this case? I'm
saying that allow the process to go through. If you believe that the person is clean, what have you got to worry about? Are you saying that the judiciary should not function because, and in any case, the people of this country in 2020 decided that they were going to hold balance the parliament of this republic for purposes of accountability. And so voted for a parliament that is balanced enough, even to the point of making the speaker an NDC person. The NDC is saying that they are not comfortable with that. The speaker has ruled and said that the position that the NDC is taking is illegal. To the extent that if you want to go some form of walkout, you should seek permission of a sort, right to the speaker for him to grant approval. And let me dare say that there's nothing wrong with MPs not being in Parliament, provided justification can be given to it. There are MPs of these states who are ministers of state, who out of the functions of their office have had to travel and attend to government business. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you deliberately walk out when there's government business for us to discuss issues of this development, my brother spoke about issues of cannabis. He has to understand that the cannabis legislation in this country is a bipartisan issue that we agreed and believe that.
The speaker has even endorsed.
Exactly. There are benefits. There are benefits to this republic. And maybe he didn't understand the essence of who's going to pass that thing. But we have said it, that the cannabis that we are talking about are benefits that could help in the cocoa sector because of juice sack and other things that may come from it. And not necessarily cannabis of perhaps Aveno that people are going to smoke. So we need to understand that where we are as a country, the issues before her is that if the Attorney General goes to prosecute somebody, and the Attorney General does not prosecute people out of will. There's a criminal issue of a person lying to the state. And in any case, if you are put before court, it does not automatically mean that you are guilty. Everybody in this republic has a fair chance to, trial. If you go there, go and make your case. If the NDC believes that Mr. Quayson is innocent, they should provide him with all the legal support.
As a jihad.
So what is the thing that they want to hold us to ransom? The NDC must understand that within the Republic of Ghana, everybody is equal before the law. And they are not going to be treated as a special class of people. It is not going to happen under our watch.
Very good. But when you have a president of the Republic,
right,
on the eve of a major by-election, make an indication to a statement that had been made by the opposition leader, as well as the presidential candidates for the opposition, who alludes to commentary that that the man will go to jail. And then he says that even if he goes to jail, they will still come back and win the seat. And then the president makes those allusions and continues to make conclusions that an individual who is a major contender in that by-election could be in jail. That will give every fair-minded person a certain conclusion that the man is being harassed to be jailed.
No, you see, I like the choice of the word could. The president did not emphasize that the gentleman who is going to jail.
But this is the president.
At the end of the day, listen, when you go to court, there are two possible outcomes. You either win the case or you are found faulty, and then the prescribed laws will deal with you. The president says that this person could be in jail. Perhaps you may say that because he's the president, that commentary at that time on a platform like
so you agree that that commentary was...
I'm saying that we all have different opinions, but I'm saying
What's your opinion?
At the time...
What's your opinion?
My opinion is that the president was making a general commentary, and he said that could. He didn't say that the person is going to jail. He said could go to jail because it's true. At the end of the day, if you are before a court, there are two possible outcomes. You could either live free or you could be jailed. And the issue at stake is a criminal matter.
And the man has to appear every day.
There are two... yes, of course. And what is wrong with that? We are the very people.
Do you know that we have the men's gold issues still in court?
Listen. One of the things that we need to look at in this country is our criminal justice system.
Do you know that we have the men's gold issue in court? There are people who are
on remand. Let's deal with the substantive issue here. There are people who have been on remand for 6 months, for 1 year, dealing with criminal issues.
I know.
If you are fortunate for the court to say that come to court so that there's a speedy trial for this particular matter. The court recognizes the importance of this matter as a public interest matter.
That are not convened or held daily.
The court recognizes that this is a public interest matter. And for that matter, the people of Asin North deserve representation like any other person in this country. The MPs that we send into parliament, we send them to go and represent our dealings and impressions. The MPs of NDC could be in the chamber and making case for their constituents. They will leave the chamber and go and sit all over the place. In any case, Roland, let me tell you something. If Noise can win cases in parliament, Olympics would have won the league every time in this country. The issue in parliament is not about noise. It's about making a case for your people. That is why the people of this republic voted you to go to the chamber.
So who is making the noise here?
The NDC must be ready to engage. Because the people of the Republic in 2020 recognize that beyond the bipartisan, beyond the binary nature of our discussions in this country, there comes a time where people must agree to work. The NPP, since 2020, have been engaging, and it's for this reason that we've come this far. The NDC must go back into the chamber and engage, so that we'll find solution towards the development of this country.
You've been a student leader before. Yes. You know that protests and the walkout are part of emphasizing a certain position.
I agree. Protests.
Okay, great.
Protests. No, you see, but
let me just make
the last point. Let me just make the last point. You see, if you protest, it is allowed. By the end of the day,
why are they protesting and you are not?
No, but if you are protesting to stampede the work, why do you leave the chamber? In any case, they will be taking salaries. Has a number of the NDC MPs have workers in private businesses? Would they be comfortable?
Why are your people also not in parliament? Very often in their numbers.
I have said that. Our people not be in parliament. There's no evidence to say that they have left their job in parliament. A number of them are on government business, and it is allowed within the law. If any NDC MP thinks that the majority people out of parliament is a problem, they should make a case before the speaker, and then that matter could go into it.
Roland, you see,
Malik, what do you say to this?
You see, when Honorable James Quayson was being sworn in, were they in parliament? I'm asking, were they in parliament? On the day of his swearing in, were they in parliament? They boycotted. In fact, it was the most confused boycott ever in the history of the Republic of Ghana. They boycotted a man they congratulated. President Akufo-Addo congratulated him. The party itself congratulated him. Yet on the day of his swearing in, they shamelessly left the chamber without any reason. I had narrated that from 2012, in fact, let me limit it. When boycotts were being happened, they were based on reasons. 2012, you boycotted President Mohammed swearing in. And I give you the credit, because indeed, you were to go to court. And so you leaving that particular swearing in meant that you had registered your displeasure in that particular instance. 2016, we boycotted President Akufo-Addo's swearing in. Why? Because we had issues. In fact, 2016 we didn't. 2020, we boycotted. Why? Because we were to go to court. And we had issues with the entire elections. On several other instances where we have boycotted parliamentary proceedings, including your party, there were reasons behind it. But when this man, James Quayson, was being sworn in, you walked out. Until date, you haven't been able to give a single reason why you congratulate a man, appear there again, and walk out. If this is not confusion, then what again should it be? This is what they should be speaking to. That is one. Two, and so today, you have issues with our boycott. When you boycotted the swearing in of the man today, we are solidarizing with. You now have issues with our boycott. That is one. Two, you keep desperately, and you see this desperation must stop at some point. The desperation of the MPP.
Who is desperate? The MPP?
Entire machinery. Look, we haven't finished discussing a matter where the president shouted on a chief, a same chief, embarrassed him publicly. And then 2 weeks after, his own daughter was flaunting, preaching the national anthem, speaking to her boyfriend on phone when they were singing the national anthem. Who was she speaking to? They should tell us who she was on phone with. She was speaking to her boyfriend, making love on phone when the national anthem was being sung. The president stood there, lack of principle, shamelessly looked at her and allowed her. Meanwhile, when it was the time for the Mempe Assembly chief, you should have seen how he was angry like an owl that had seen a lizard. Panting. Asked that they should tell the chief to stand up, a sick chief. This is the disregard to our traditional authorities. That aside, we'll come to that particular matter. But you see, Alote Jacobs was chairman for the Central Region.
For the NDC.
For the NDC, till 2018.
And he's using his position.
I want to explain it so that he doesn't repeat it again. If the man indeed showed up to contest even in 2012 and was told that he owed dual citizenship or allegiance and so could not contest, did the man contest in the election? You claimed he was disqualified. So the man came back in 2019 and started renunciation. When I was telling you when he started this renunciation, did I tell you he started during the era of Alote Jacobs? Alote Jacobs ceased being chairman in 2018. We had lawyer Ado. And so if you guys have decided that your newfound friend will be your basis, okay, that you say he disqualified the man in that election, it has no bearing on his current status. The fact that I was disqualified, why? You have a whole minority whip whose case is still coming in the public domain, who was convicted in Australia.
You're talking about the majority.
Deputy whip, who was convicted.
It raised an issue
some
in key
time
points
ago.
on
Yes,
Saturday.
yes, that matter is coming up, and look forward to it. There will soon be a by-election. I can assure you on this platform. And so, if the man was disqualified even under that regime, how does it affect his renunciation in 2019? Was Alote Jacobs chairman in 2019? So what kind of flawed and misguided analysis is this? And so please, let us desist from it. Then you speak about the man appearing in court not necessarily meaning that Judge Quayson is guilty. I think Jihad knows a little better than President Akufo-Addo with this kind of analysis.
No, he knows better.
The president knew the man was in court. The president sentenced him on a platform. Didn't you hear Mr. Akufo-Addo say that the man will be in jail and so they shouldn't preach for him? I think that this basic one law 101, you should be teaching President Akufo-Addo that the fact that you are in court does not mean you are guilty.
The president is a distinguished lawyer.
I beg your pardon.
His cases are used as case law in
yes, and so I think that I commend Jihad for this. He knows this better than President Akufo-Addo.
Perhaps you are misquoting the president. Please, can we get the president's tape on the campaign platform? Please, we'll get it ready. Continue.
Play it. The president stood on the podium. He passed sentence on James Quayson.
Please get the president.
He said they shouldn't vote for a man who will be in prison. That was what the president said.
Well, the MPP
he
says
made that point. The MPP are not spokespersons for President Akufo-Addo. President Akufo-Addo is a long-standing communicator. He knows how to make his point. And he made that point there. And so I'm surprised that all of a sudden you are telling us that the fact that you are in court does not mean you are going to jail. And so we should respect court processes. President Akufo-Addo should have been the first man to respect all these court processes, other than passing sentence on James Quayson. Look, what we are saying, and we have made a point, that cooperation will suffer so long as you decide to continue with this misguided persecution of our parliamentary people, cooperation will suffer. Because what we know, and today, you are asking us to engage. Fairly, we will engage. But when we were calling on you to engage and stop this unnecessary witch hunting, unnecessary persecution, currently, our minority leader is in court. Look, Honorable Collins Dowda has been in court from 2016.
Is the minority
till
leader
date.
above the law?
There is no substance, no bearing, and these are matters we cannot
There's
go
no
into
substance, yet
because they're
the
before a
minority
court of
leader and his
competent
team was
jurisdiction.
making a case
But there
with
is no substance, I beg your pardon, allow me, in these whole matters. And so if you have decided to use the courts, you have decided to use some 7 people in black maternity attack to disturb and persecute our parliamentarians, we will also use other means to ensure that we solidarize with all these constituencies.
They said that you are disrupting government business in the House.
Look, I don't know which business we have disrupted. I don't know. And I've already told you that since 2017, there hasn't been a single positive business laid in the House that benefited the people of this country. Since 2017. I don't want to go into the weak conversation. That is why I don't want to go into it. But since 2017, there hasn't been any positive government business. So which business are we stampeding? They should tell us one business they have laid that we have stampeded. In other words, you are attempting to lay an anti-LGBT bill. And can you imagine that the bill is laid on the day James Quayson appears before court and we have to vote on it? Automatically, the minority will lose. And once the minority lose, that anti-LGBT bill that seeks to criminalize gayism, lesbianism, and has been a long-standing position of the NDC, will not have its way. And the MPP may have its way because President Akufo-Addo will demonstrate what he meant by it was bound to happen. And that is why we are saying that, look, we will continue to solidarize with Honorable James Quayson. We had made a point to you that cooperation will suffer. This is just the beginning. If you want us to have a smooth governance system, let us negotiate. Let us engage. Stop the unnecessary persecution. Respect the will of people. Not only the NDC has called for a discontinuation of this particular matter. The Venerable Domahene, and the last time I heard my very good brother Jihad, on this platform, use very harsh words on the Venerable Domahene. Look, if this were somewhere in the north, I don't think we'll be able to step foot there. Because you cannot call the Domahene a political propagandist, an NDC a whole Domahene. Can you say this to the Otunfo? And then you call the Domahene, call his bluff. Just because President Akufo-Addo trains you. Just because President Akufo-Addo will tell their flower chief to complete his building. Lack of respect, lack of discipline, lack of principles to all these people. And all these people have called you to discontinue this case. The chiefs and people of Asenov have called you to discontinue.
So that's the minority's point.
The clergy have called on you to discontinue this case. You have decided you won't listen because you don't listen to anybody. You are power drunk. But you should remember that power is transient.
I'd like to respond.
Do you have the president's tape?
I'd like to respond to a few issues.
Let's play the president's tape so that perhaps it puts all the matters into perspective.
But
and
I
then
still want to respond to
yes,
them.
yes,
yeah, you rewind.
Yeah, Baba to Abe. Now, if you don't know the way Bama, the beer Baba Ambra. No, Jim Hono. Or Jim Hono. Yeah, poor Piano Baba Sumo. No, Piano Nasam Baba Hamadre. Let him be a newspaper move. I say North MP say, I say North MP say. Yana here. Yeah, poor Piano Baba Yajuma. Now the fiancé of every trade me about Yajuma. Maybe some would the fiancé about to me about Yajuma. And I demand I will to me or prison. I die a man, I'll be to me or prison. So Uncle Dream Mohua, Uncle Fan Homa. Nasan Abamo. If you say NDC for a penny, sir. Miss Ramo, Mamma, yes, I'm from so new. More pet Obia. Oba Baba ye Ejuma.
I mean, and so you can replay this video 1,000 times. The president was even sympathizing with the people that they need representation, they need leadership. What is wrong with the father of the nation saying this? But you see, the NDC, we have said time and again, the propaganda and sometimes agenda setting, we are not going to fall to some of these things. But you see, earlier on in Malik's presentation, he made mention of citizenship and owing allegiance to another state are two different things. I mean, my brother is wrong on that tangent. Because at the end of the day, what makes you hold allegiance to a state is your binding relationship with that state. And per the laws of this country, is you being a citizen of that place. Because then again, your loyalties to Ghana and that place is divided. And so therefore, if somebody on his own volition makes us believe that he has, put in a renunciation, and at the end of the day, per the laws of the state, by the time you file, you must have been, if you are a dual citizen, you must have renounced your citizenship. What wrong has the nation of Ghana done to the extent that the minority or the opposition NDC will hold the whole nation into ransom? But I mean, I'm not surprised. He referenced a number of people. And all these things, there's enough traction to say that at every point in time, certain elements within the state, the NDC hide behind them to set the agenda for the state. But we are not going to go into that. But I also hold Malik a bit of some advice as a brother that, you see, at every point in time, we are likely to have the politics in the judiciary, in the legislature, and then the executive. For us as a society, when you go to court, the court doesn't ask who is your mother, who is your father, what sort of money is in your account. It is the only place we can all go and seek respite or relief when we have issues. And so if he comes to sit on this platform and disrespects the courts, the judiciary, by labeling them as a bunch of weak and robe-wearing people, 7-member body who takes any decision, I mean, it's very disappointing for me as a brother. And I think that he has to withdraw that commentary. Because at the end of the day, it is not just Asinor that had a case in Parliament. There was a case of Jomoro, a case in court. There was a case in Jomoro. The NDC won that case. They didn't say anything about the judiciary. They didn't, in fact, they didn't even comment. They were all over the place, chanting and showing how intelligent their legal team is. Today, just today, right at the border of the Western region, there is another case. And they lose that case, and they think that the whole nation has to come to a standstill because somebody is going to court. Were they not part of Article? Is the NDC seeking to implement a class society so that we say that politicians at any point in time, when issues are before them, they are given special treatment? What is unique about Mr. Quayson? When Atoforson was in Parliament, was in court, how come the NDC did not say that they were laying down their tools of work and going to solidarize with him at the judiciary or at the courts? Today is Quayson. And because they've set a grand agenda to sort of create an impression that this man is being persecuted, at the end of the day, the young people, the young lady in who the regional minister had to go and pay 1,500 cedis, the pregnant young lady, so that her court sentence is withdrawn because that pregnant young lady went to pour sort of pepper on her sister and so was sentenced to 6 months in prison. What wrong has that person done? Shouldn't the minority at this stage could be calling for a reformation of our criminal justice system so that we all advocate for a fast or a speedy trial? Today you are even fortunate that the case before the court, and the court is saying that, because of the public sensitivity of this matter, we want to try it in a fast manner. What wrong has the state done? But I tell you,
but if we have,
I have also
if we have the men's gold number one case,
you see, every issue before the court,
is it not a public sensitivity case?
But I'm saying that every issue before the courts, based on the necessary ingredients that goes into it, the men's gold number one issue is totally different from this issue. Because at the end of the day, it is the prosecution.
It is not a public interest matter.
What I'm saying is that it is the prosecution that has to determine how the case travels. If the prosecution is able to gather enough evidence and build enough case to go and present to the court can decide when it is ready that the men's gold case is going to travel each and every day. But that is not the reason why we are here.
There's a case in court about why.
I'm saying that
why
we are here.
The Guan district.
Roland, let's not digress. We are here.
No, we're not digressing.
We are here because
there's another case.
We are here because the NDC is telling the whole country.
The president doesn't care about that.
The NDC is telling us in this country that because a member of their party is before the court, a member who supposedly lied to the state and is being asked to come and justify. And you see, let's not create an impression that the issue before the court is because somebody is being persecuted and somebody went through the process. It is the court that ruled that the election of the gentleman is null and void. I don't think there is anything that we need to even be arguing about. At the end of the day, there's a final ruling on the matter. If Judge Quayson felt that he didn't agree with the decision, he could have gone to the apex court to make an appeal. In any case, several times when the matter was at the High Court, they went to the the apex court to go and seek several interpretations and rulings on the matter. And at any point in time, when the ruling goes into their favor, and we see, I fear for this republic. I fear because over the period, the people of this country have built some confidence in the judiciary. Even the current president of the republic, when he lost the 2012 elections, he said that even though he disagrees with the decision of the court, he stands by it. How come the NDC cannot do same? Is the NDC saying that the parliamentarians are the only people who can go and solidarize with their colleague at the courts? There are better issues that our republic needs.
That's a question you never answered, though.
I'm saying that
the issues of NAM1, there's a case about why we have constituents in the Central Kofi Akpafu, Lolobi, as well as Lekpe area, not having a representative in parliament. There are many other related cases. Bakavoma's case, for example. He even opted for a daily trial. All zilch.
2 days
and those are not public interest matters. You never answered that question.
If I'm not mistaken,
yes, please.
Barely 3 days ago, I saw Mr. Vomawa's post on Facebook that he had returned into the country to go for a trial. As to what happened that day, I cannot tell. But I can tell you that his case is ongoing. Then, of course, you have raised the issue about SAL and other places. There are certain issues that I cannot respond to. Perhaps if you call the Attorney General for you to give you the side or the update on some
so
of
this one, we should call Attorney General. I have spoken to Vomawa's issue. You made reference to it, and I said that in the case of Vomawa, I have read on his Facebook wall, he's returned into the country to go to court. Okay.
Whatever happened there, he has not stated it yet. But I'm saying that on the other substantive issues, we can only speak to it based on the knowledge of the matter we have. So you can speak to the Attorney General. Until you hear the side of the Attorney General, I think that it will be unfair for us to, cast aspersions or create an impression that nothing is being done.
As you are cherry picking.
You
are choosing which one to answer.
I'm saying that we build a case. So at the end of the day, based on the information and the level of evidence available, that is what the Attorney General will go through. And then, of course, the NDC must know. They cannot tell the Attorney General to file a nolle prosequi. At the end of the day, it is also based on information available, like I said. If within the merit of the case, the Attorney General and his team believes that filing a nolle prosequi is the way to go, we will all go by it. But the NDC then again cannot build a class society. When we do that, we are not being fair to the Ghanaian people. If you go to my hometown in Jamestown, there is no day that you go to the Jamestown police station that there are no people in there who are being held before bars. There's no day you go to my constituency at Odoko that at the police station you don't have people. Each and every day people are being arrested for trivial issues. And there is the NDC saying that we should let all these people go. And within their rights as parliamentarians, they can do something about it. Parliament should make the necessary laws and help with the supervision to ensure that rule of law prevails. But this nation cannot stop because the NDC wants it to stop.
All right.
Hold on, just one minute.
Now let's get 3 minutes on this subject.
You see.
You have 3 minutes, so 1 minute.
When you give him the chance, I'm also going
you have demonstrated
right.
that there are people in the Odoko police station, some of whom have just stole 1 tube of yam, yet they are in prison. Do you know Aisha?
Very well.
A Galamsey queen destroyed our lands, destroyed our water bodies, condemned forest reserves, polluted our environment, bribed people, state personnel, people at the presidency, gave them bundles, corruption, did not have immigration certificates. She was in this country, lack of I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. Roland, please. I beg your pardon. When you were speaking, I allowed you. Please, Roland, can you control him? The Aisha one misbehaved this way. Oh, I beg you.
The former president has not even told us
can we stop this behavior?
Aisha
one
relax.
And I'm saying that, you see, some of these allegations, he cannot write them down. Allow him to make his statements.
3 minutes.
When you were speaking, I allowed you.
But 3 minutes, I'm not going to
saying that you cannot make allegations without providing
Isaac,
when you were speaking, I allowed you.
Isaac, please write.
Bribed people, gave bundles to people, messed the entire economy up, messed our lands, messed the presidency, messed all human beings up in this country. What did your government do? They filed a nolle prosequi. They returned her back to her country. You are the whole senior minister, and I have a lot of respect for him, enormous respect. But with this, he had a whole senior minister stood on a podium and shamelessly told us that Aisha One was taken back to her country so the government could get money.
What's the point?
This is your love for money. This is the love of a government for money.
What's the point of this?
The point I'm making is that you don't sit here and pretentiously act as if you are solidarizing or sympathizing with people who are stealing bread or a tube of yam and are in prison. And yet you forget that your same government took cash, took bundles, took money, corruption, and then decided to leave Aisha 1. You sat here and said, we cannot direct the Attorney General to file a nolli prosequi. Who directed the Attorney General to file a nolli prosequi to a Chinese national, a criminal like Aisha 1? Oh, so we Ghanaians cannot advise the Attorney General. The pastors and chiefs and imams cannot advise him. But Shang Jianchen, a Chinese person sitting in his country, can advise the Attorney General, together with President Akufo-Addo, that free a Chinese criminal, a galamseya, back to a country.
You are talking in relation to the senior minister as well.
Absolutely.
Is that because we have? Is that we have? Oh no, is that because we have relation with China? And at the time, I think we were negotiating.
So we don't have a relation with Asenov. They don't have a relation with the chiefs and elders and clergy of this country. Then in election year, go to China, go and look for votes there. If you have a good relation with them, because of money, this is your love for money. No wonder. You see, I feel sad that you use all these examples in these instances. We have said, and we will repeat it every day, every time, that if you don't sit down, look at issues again, let us have a fair dialogue. Cooperation will suffer.
Malik, they said let the courts operate independently.
I have just told you, and he even spoke about fast-tracking the court processes, and I'm happy that you brought the issue of SAL. There are people sitting without an MP in this country. For 3 good years, there hasn't been a resolution to that matter. Number one, who came into this country, misbehaved. People's monies have been locked up. Men's good. His trial, in fact, nobody even knows how far his trial has gone. And then you sit there and talk about expediting.
Okay, so that's why you're
raising. Even in murder cases, what we have said, and even in murder cases, we don't have day-to-day trial. Not to talk of a man representing a group of people. And so that day-to-day trial is what we are saying, that disarm, disengage. Right. Don't go on that tangent. don't let your evil plans work. Simple.
I'm confused right now. I'm not getting this position. It is one thing saying that the case should not go on a daily basis. It's another thing saying that discontinue the case. What is the NDC asking for? Oh. You see the issue about their confusion? Their state of confusion. Because in one breath, you are saying that we don't want a day-to-day trial. In another breath, you are saying that you want the case to discontinue. Oh. If you want, go and make pleadings before the court and seek for, an avenue where the case will be tried on different basis. If the ruling goes in your favor, I'm sure you definitely see them online. They will come and chant, hey, how smart their legal brains are. The moment he goes against them, he will come and sit here and call the judiciary and call the apex court a bunch of people who are wearing robes. And I find that comment once again very unfortunate. One of the tenets that has held this country together is the confidence we have in the ability of the judiciary to provide justice to all. So that whenever we go into an election, no matter the disagreement I have, I believe that if I go to the judiciary, I'll find a fair balance of ruling to make me, to give me a decision. Whether it goes in my favor or not, if I believe and have confidence in the system, I'll go there. It is better, no matter how bad you might think that our systems are, it is better than taking up arms and fighting each other. And that is where the NDC wants us to go. Oh. You see, I tell you this. If you look at the tangent the NDC is going, they are setting the stage for violence.
And who is going to be the violence?
You see, they are setting the stage for confusion and violence in this country.
Where?
See,
which part of the country?
Time and again, they sought to bastardize and castigate the judiciary to weaken public confidence in the body. And at the end of the day,
which time did they do that? And which time did they do that?
We didn't see it in the last elections, where they told their people that they have won the elections. We were here when they, at their headquarters, had a press conference and told the people that we have won the elections. People jumped onto the streets, all excited.
What has that got to do with the judiciary?
I am saying this because, you see, at every point in time, there has to be a balance. At every point in time, there has to be a neutral arbiter that we can all walk up to and say that, you know what, based on...
No, you've made the point. So then you go to election...
But I have made reference to the fact that, time and again, if you look at how the NDC is building this case, at every point in time, they seek to be, bastardizing the judiciary. They are setting the stage for confusion and violence. In the 2024 elections, when they lose, they will tell us that it's the judiciary that has lost them the election. So therefore, they are not going back there. Mark this. We have seen it coming. And it is unfortunate that in one breath, you seek to, praise your legal team, led by the renowned Chachuchi Kata. And then, of course, my former lecturer, Justice Sai and Co. And seek to, praise them and show how smart and intelligent they are. Yet when they lose their case, it is the judiciary that is to blame. I think the media and every Ghanaian should pay attention to this. Because each and every time, we all need that avenue where we can go and seek redress. Put that aside. I tell you that. See, Mr. Judge Quayson has a right to fair trial. He can go to court and go and make a case.
On daily basis.
The NDC must agree.
On daily basis.
On daily basis. Okay. It is even in his interest that this case travels faster. Because you see, when we are in Nasen North, there was an alleged video of Mr. Judge Quayson's daughter who was making a case and pleading with the NDC, including to a point that he was even chastising his dad. Today you are talking about fake video. Yes, still you believe an audio, purported audio about removal of IGP, and even sought to blame the NPP for it. Yes, still today you are saying that the audio, the supposed audio of Judge Quayson's daughter pleading with her dad and telling the NDC to stop using the father.
There was an audio.
You have not heard this. I can send it to you right now. There is an audio. He knows what I'm talking about. You see, today he's trying to tell you that particular audio.
So that audio has been authenticated by the member of parliament.
I am saying that. You said you haven't heard the audio, but he has said it. An audio came prior to the elections of Mr. Judge Quayson's alleged daughter.
I'm trying to relate to the issue.
And I'm relating the issue to the fact that
I'm lost.
at a certain point in time,
Malik.
at a certain point in time, Judge Quayson's daughter made a case before us as a country, to the NDC especially, that they should stop using their dad. This man is over 70 years old. Today, we have put the man before court, moving him here and there. What couldn't the NDC have done?
All right.
They could have replaced him. But the issue is not about the person of Mr. Judge Quayson. That issue about his filing and failure to, acknowledge his allegiance to another state, we've gone past that stage. Today, the issue is a criminal matter. A criminal matter, go to the court, go and make a case. If you are free, like any other Ghanaian,
on daily basis.
Just like any other Ghanaian, you are free to go.
On daily
but
basis.
Mr. Judge Quayson will not be treated as a special citizen. That particular action that politicians take in this country, including almost every time when somebody is sentenced, then the presidential powers of the state will not be treated as a special citizen of this country.
You see, like Aisha.
You see, we as politicians must be careful how we deal with the Ghanaian citizen.
That I agree.
We are all equal before the law.
I agree.
There have been instances where politicians are sentenced and the presidential powers are brought to bear, and then, of course, a pardon is granted. Anybody deserves a right to be before the court.
I agree.
And the ruling of the court must be binding on all of us. We shouldn't create a class society so that Mr. Judge Quayson, because it's NDC, because the NDC wants to hold this country into ransom, when the people of the Republic believe that in 2020 there's the need for us to have a fair balance. This is the first time that we're even having a speaker, the referee of the parliament, being an NDC. Yesterday they are saying that even the person being brought, they don't even trust that person. So what does the NDC want from this state? They should tell us. All right. But what they cannot have, they are free to come and engage, but what they cannot have is to come and hold this country into ransom and make us believe that the only way we shall govern is for them to hold us by the balls. It is not going to happen. Right. We are men of valor, we are men of intelligence, and we are ready to all be in this country together.
Men of
valor. Men of Aisha one.
We have to look. We have to look to some other issues. Yesterday at Akwatialine in Kumasi, there were we were told 2 individuals who got injured. They sustained serious wounds because some macho men apparently ran rampage. We want to quickly wind down with that issue. And we have Evans Inkum. So William Evans Inkum is a bureau chief in the Ashanti region, and he's joining us. Good morning to you, Evans. Yesterday, what's the latest from that incident by way of the update?
Well, calm has returned to this particular phase, this Akwatialine. But let me first establish the foundation of this whole thing. For that matter, we need to really understand the status of this particular land, which is currently under contention. So this was the parcel of land that generated that fisticuffs yesterday between the supporters of the man claiming to be the owner of this parcel of land and also some guys sent by the Asukori Mampong Municipal Assembly. We understand they are part of the municipal task force, which of course resulted in some casualties. Now, this particular land belongs to government. And if I say government, the original owners of the land actually is the railway, authority. Let me put it that way. So 100 feet to the right and 100 feet to the left are being controlled by the railway authority. And we understand that the occupants of this particular parcel of land have been here, for a very long time. I also understand that they have been paying some rent to the Railway Development Authority. That one has also been established. So two claims have been established. One, that parcel of land belongs to government and the original owners, or I mean those who are supposed to take care of this particular land is the Railway Authority. And then the occupant that we see here have also been here for a very long time. I understand some have lived here for over a decade. So that has also been established. Now to the bone of contention, the development. And this is what you are seeing on the screen, Roland. So we understand that this particular project is a 400 stall that the Askoriman for Municipal Assembly is currently erecting, and it's part of the redevelopment of this particular area. So what they want to do is not too different from Roland, and I'm sure you know the railway line. It's a similar project that we are going to see here. And the rationale behind this, according to the Assembly, is to maximize revenue mobilization and generation. So that has also been established by the Assembly. Now, to this particular parcel of land, according to the Assembly, what we have been made to understand is a 70 by 50 parcel of land which has been in contention for a very long time because the owner, the one who was occupying here, I understand is one Mahama, has, had cause to engage the Assembly on several occasions so that he will regularize his stay here. But that hasn't been able to go through. It has been back and forth, and he has been here for a very long time. And I wouldn't want to say it is a norm, but some way, somehow, it has become a norm that if you live in a place for a very long time, it's very something that is very familiar as far as the Ashanti region, as far as the Ashanti region is concerned.
Okay.
If you live in a place for a very long time, then that place, in some way, somehow, becomes yours. All right. If for any reason you have to be ejected from that particular place, that is where sometimes we have a situation. It goes through some level of process. Sometimes the person will have to be compensated and all of that. So having lived on this particular parcel of land for a very long time, Mahama think that or believes that, if there's going to be any ejection, there's going to be any redevelopment, then it has to go through that level of process.
Okay.
And to him, he is not saying that. And
So has Calm returned so far? Do we have Calm returned?
So far, Calm has returned, and understand that the matter went to court, but in fact, he had wanted to secure some interlocutory injunction on this particular parcel of land, but the Assembly is also claiming that that particular application was thrown out. And I understand, at least, before engaging you, I spoke with the Municipal Chief Executive, and I get the sense that they want to meet as two parties and also address this particular development.
William Evans Nkuma, Bureau Chief in the Ashanti region, giving us the latest update on this. And, Malik, we had clashes there, but more importantly is to ensure that we have, peace. In Boku is always up there, etc. So, what do you make of this? How do we ensure that at least there's relative peace within many of these areas, including Akwatialine?
I seem to know a little more about this entire issue.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I do. It has to do with Alaji and Madina Company, that is the name of the company, and Alaji Mahamudu, a native of the Asawase constituency. So, in all the letters I have been previewed to, it appears surprising that, Roland, you come and want to use my land. And mind you, when I hear people say it is government land, every land in this country is state land. Every land. Nobody owns a land. You only acquire a lease. And then you use it for a particular period in time. And then it automatically becomes that of the state again. And so every land belongs to the state and the sovereignty of this country. This man had been on the land since 1983. This man wrote to the Railway Commission that he needed the land on lease basis. The Railway Company Limited
That's
in
the
1999.
The Railways Corporation.
Corporation in 1999 leased this land to him for 50 years. And he had been using it. Then you, the assembly come, you, the DC or MC, says that, no, we need your land for development. And so you would have to relinquish your land to us. I have all receipts,
including the
where
title.
they had paid rents as agreed upon in this particular deal. Then the man says, no, I still need my land. Whatever development you want me to put up, I'll be able to put that development up there. And then the railway says, okay, go and meet the contractor, Alhaji Madina. And then you guys will agree. I have in my hands the memorandum of understanding, MOU, okay, that they went into. This was issued by Alhaji and Madina Company. When you read it, he admits in point 2 that the land belongs to you. However, I want to develop it so that we relinquish a section of it, the stores, to you. How do you determine how I should use my land? How? And then when the man refuses to sign this MOU, you as a state has land guards. And these land guards come and commit mayhem. You see, I'm not surprised. Because you had a whole lands commission chair admitting in parliament that they engage the services of land guards in reclaiming some state lands. Very, irresponsible comment. Very irresponsible action. And in the coming days, the Honorable Suini will take the matter up.
For update.
Absolutely. And where in our laws has it stated that you should go and procure the services of land guards? I thought we were fighting vigilantism in this country. I thought police persons were seen shooting some land guards at other jurisdictions. And you, as a government, have decided to go in for the services of land guards and use these land guards.
Have you
And
seen
this
the
is what was
statement that was
demonstrated in this
issued?
particular
We're
instance.
told that it's a company. So that there's some level of
No, the assemblyman had stated clearly that the directive was given by the MC, by the assembly. The company is only working for the assembly. And so the directive was given by the assembly. And I think that, look, we must get to a point where all these things will be up. I have all documents. In the next few days, we'll be blasting out hugely and will demonstrate that that particular land belongs to Alhaji Mahu
Quayson.
and must stay with him. So you hear from us on this particular matter.
No, that's entirely.
You see, I think that, it must be made clear that when we come on these platforms, we don't just represent our parties. We also owe it a duty to educate the public. Okay. And so Malik should make the public understand that it is not true, or it is not, accurate to say that all lands in this republic is vested in the hands of the state of a sort, like the state owns every land. There are public lands, and then there are, customary lands owned by stools and other bodies, and then of course the state lands where we have compulsorily acquired or vested in the hands of the state. In the said issue, I'm not going to sit here and hold brief because there is a contentious matter. The private individual who is laying claim to the land may have a case. The assembly may also have a case. Until we go into the matter, that's where we can have a fair understanding. Or perhaps this matter will even end up in court. But what I can say is that for us as a youth, we need to hold ourselves together and not allow ourselves to be used by, unscrupulous persons or selfish individuals who want to, use the youth across the country to, achieve their selfish gains. I would admonish my colleague youth out there that we should put ourselves together and sometimes allow the processes to work. Allow the state's institutions to handle some of these matters. If the issue ends up in court, whoever wins, let us agree to the decision. Like I said, I do not, take position or take sides. There are two persons laying claim to a land. If it's before the court, the ruling of the court will determine who wins the land. Okay. By the end of the day, the youth of the country and the youth of Akwatialine, I'm calling on them and admonishing them that they should desist from being used as, stooges for individuals to achieve their gains. Thank you very much.
I agree entirely.
So let me read. I have this one. It says, how should the MPP rep be asked to provide responses on why other cases on trial are now going with the same speed as a Quayson case? Is he from the Judiciary? Is he a court registrar? And then there's also a criticism to me. When Malik takes the discussion from archaeology to zoology, you don't complain. Yet when Hyde cites example from other issues, you have issues.
Who sent that?
But when
you
Allow me. Allow me.
You don't read messages. You don't read messages without names.
Allow
When
me.
Richard Anyagba refuses to come and sends you messages, you'll be reading.
You need to call Malik.
This is from Richard Anyagba.
His
It is
propagandist
from Richard.
approach
No,
to
it's not
dealing
from-
with issues
so
on this
who said
platform.
It's not
It's
from
fine.
So who
Richard.
said it?
I'm saying
I have
his
the-
propagandist
I-
approach to this thing. And
Richard
you see,
sent this.
whoever sent this
I want to
message,
read some
whoever
No,
sent
it
this
is-
message
So who sent
may
it?
be right.
It is-
Because at the end of
So
the
it's not
day,
Richard,
you
who
put a
sent it?
substantive
Malik,
case.
sent it?
The next
Let me-
moment,
Richard
Malik is
Anyagba
all
sent
over
Let
the
me
place.
mention some names.
It's all over the place.
Richard Anyagba
Oh,
said
let
no.
me mention some
He
names.
will
Malik.
wake up and come to studio.
Malik and Isaac
Richard
Hyde. It's
will not
okay.
come to studio. He will
Okay,
sit in the house and be sending text messages to people.
so thank you
Tell
for the
him to
feedback.
Wake up at 8 a.m. and come to the studio.
Thank you
That
for
is
the
what we
feedback.
see him
The
doing.
message
He
is
wasn't
not
employed by Elon Musk to be on Twitter.
the
He was
message
employed by NPP.
the message is not from Richard Anyagba. And thank you for the feedback.
sent the
I
message?
have this one from
sent the
Prince
message?
Henry Kofodria. Please ask Hyde if it was wrong or good for the MPP to boycott Parliament and the swearing in of President Mahama in 2013. We should have principles as politicians, he said, PHK. Now, I have this from Chris Ashalibotre, who says, the owners of PDS and NAM1 are walking scot-free. The MPP delinquents invaded a court in Kumasi in a Rambo style to set free their colleagues, and nothing happened. And we find pleasure in harassing daily an elected member of parliament in the person of Jachi Quayson, Chris Ashalibotre. I have this one also from, let me see. Okay, this one from lawyer Eric Delano Alifo. He says, it is important for all of us to understand that the decision to prosecute Jachi Quayson and Forson are political decisions taken by a partisan AG and cabinet. The impression must not be created that the judiciary is infallible. The impression must also not be created that it has to take NDC to convince Ghanaians that the judiciary is not always impartial. He said I should read it, so I read it. And then I have this one also. It says, please ask Mr. Hyde if he was in Ghana in 2013 when there was a boycott and then criticism to the Supreme Court. This has been put together by Professor Raymond Atuguba of the University of Ghana Law Faculty. You're a law student, right?
I love Mr. Raymond Atuguba.
Okay.
He's a very intelligent man.
Okay. My name is Henry. Emmanuel Hans of Tema gave you my. Okay. You say the AG is very dishonest, but he also should know that he represents all Ghanaians in the judiciary and not only the president. All right. So I have Musa Abatwa. Says the minority has every right to boycott Parliament because there's witch hunting and persecution by assigns and the government of the day. Okay. There's Amoda Hamidu says I should say good morning to you, Malik, as well as Isaac Hyde. I have this one from Mowajiman. It says the MPP rep should tell us which of the MPs are on sick leave and on government business. We know that they are accompanying various presidential candidates round to campaign. That is why they representing MPP are not in Parliament. And then let me go on to the streams and acknowledge some of you. I have Patrick Kubesika, Musa Kabir, and all of you are sending us messages. We are grateful for those time that you... Kweku Raymond as well, and all of you. We're taking a break. We'll bring you the latest updates in sports. Thank you for joining us as well. Keep watching TV3 New Day.